Well, hello YouTube. Welcome to what hopefully is going to be the first of many videos down here on the allotment. I've just acquired this allotment from the council. Kind of give you an overview of it here. The allotment goes all the way to that tree, and it's about 500 square meters. Now, all of this land isn't actually mine. The allotment has been left derelict for a couple of years, as you can probably tell, and it's been divided up into two individual plots. Now, the man from the council says it's going to be roughly here, where that peg is. He's not actually been out yet to mark it out properly, but I'm stood against the back wall, and it's going to go to that fence line, to that fence line, and then we're back to here, which is an area of roughly 230 square meters, which is pretty sizable. Now, the first thing you'll see is when you get an allotment, this is what state you're going to get it into. In fact, that's already been cleaned once. This is the other person's side where they've done no work, and you can see it's pretty overgrown. It's the council's been out and sprayed it with glyphosate during the summer, which has killed nearly everything off, but there's still a hell of a lot of work. I'll take you for a quick tour. These tarps I laid down, and I've just filled them up with everything I can manage to get out of the soil. All this is just mainly plants with the odd bit of debris underneath, bricks and concrete, rotting wood. Came with an old bath. You can see some of my gear on top of it here. What I'm not so happy about is though the amount of litter. There is glass bottles everywhere, TV remotes, used babies' nappies, where they've come from I don't know. And there's the other pile I've cleared so far, and to be honest I've hardly done anything. So I think the plan of attack for the allotment is I've marked off a line. Camera should pick that up. Right, and that's basically 5 feet off this fence line. Now the plan is use the old stick. Going to build a raised bed 1 foot off the fence, 4 foot wide, the full length of the plot, and that's going to be basically my major task for the next 2 months. This area at the back, the foot that I'm marking off, hopefully I'm going to get some trees, apples and cherries, planted against this back fence here, and they should do rather well. South is that direction, so I've taken that into account. But what I've done here is, you'll see how sloping my site is. It's actually quite waterlogged at the moment. As soon as you touch the ground, you're sinking straight into it with a heavy clay content. I've knocked this piece of wood up here out of some scrap on site just to give you an idea of what level is. Now that is level. So you can see over just this small distance of 5 feet, we've got a drop of perhaps 18 inches. 450 mil if you like the metric system. So this plot, well, I'm saying plot, this bed as I call it, has basically been prepared now. It's all been double dug. You can't really tell that by looking at it, and all the rubble's been removed. There's still a lot of weeds and stuff in it, and I've started laying down a thick layer of newspaper to act as a mulch, then covering it over with good topsoil. Now if we look at this pile of rubble, all these bricks, including this giant piece of stone, all that is from that area. You're talking 9 feet by 5 feet. So that should give you some idea of the scale of the task at hand. and let me tell you, it's hard work. It's a lot harder than I expected it to be. I was even considering fetching a little machine on to try and help me clean it, but I think that's just going to cause more problems with compaction. The previous people who've had this plot have, for reasons I'll never understand, dumped bricks and rubble against the fence line and built up these banks. So that's going to take a hell of a lot of work to remove. But to be honest, this particular patch of ground in the far corner is the most damp and waterlogged. So I'm thinking of might be a good place for compost heaps, water butts, that type of thing. This is the fence line with the neighbour. Now again, the previous people who've had this plot have piled up against the fence line, but this is actually really good quality topsoil. It's not very clayey. It's breaking up nice and easily in your hands. There's not much weed growth, but there is quite a lot of onion bulbs, so I'm wondering if they use this as a bit of an embankment for growing onions, or it's where they've just unloaded everything to. So here I am. I'm at the furthest point. Give you another view of the plot. So I'm very much open to feedback. Quick digging section with the old mattock. Spade's not really appropriate on this ground. It's just it's too sticky. It's too much hard work, and there's too much rubble. Again, if I give you a bit of a close up, you can see the ground's littered with bricks and everything else. So also, I think this is bindweed. That's going to take a hell of a lot of removing. So basically, again, my plan up to now is break this top edge up into individual little raised beds, dig out the worst of the muck, put a good mulching layer down of newspaper and cardboard. Don't really think that paper's up to much, so I'm going to get some thick cardboard, lay that down there. That's why I've not continued to fill it up with topsoil from the onion embankment, shall we call it. Build raised beds here, and that's going to be our first lot of beds. And my plan is to actually just fill these beds this year with potatoes. Going to try about 10 different varieties, see what works best in the soil and the climate around here. Then next year we can move on from that, get a crop rotation system in place. So next year, hopefully the spuds will have broke up the ground a little bit, and we can get some more interesting things going on there. Top end here gets the most sun, just near that raised bed over there. So I think a greenhouse or two is going up there. That's going to be tomato growing area. Again down there, because it's so damp and horrible, I think that's going to be like storage, compost bins, water butts, and then this middle section all the way through the plot I'm planning on terracing it and turning that into vegetable beds, and one really rather large fruit bed. Build a bit of a fruit cage out of chicken wire and scaffolding tubes, I think,